Well, let's back up into our story. Let's go back to 2002. So, in 2002, we opened up our pharmacy in 1998, and in 2002, we were a full service pharmacy. We were, like a traditional pharmacy. We're dispensing a lot of medications. We had a DME, durable medical equipment business, and we were doing mostly insurance, billing mostly insurance then. And in 2002, we decided we were, it was the last insurance we were billing was state Medicaid. And state Medicaid was decreasing their reimbursement by 25%. And we're just like, so obviously there are a lot of pharmacies in the state, and a lot of trade groups in the state saying, pharmacies should say no to it. And we were one of seven pharmacies out of 1,400 in Washington state to say no to billing state Medicaid. And it was quite a chunk of our business, actually, big chunk of our business. Now, mind you, this was back in 2002, so 20 years ago. And we had the busiest gross sales year that we ever had back then. We were busier than busy. We had more employees than we ever had. We had more business than we ever had, at least gross dollar wise. But actually, in that year was the only year we ever lost money and didn't make a profit at Moses Lake Professional Pharmacy. And partly it was due to just because you're busy doesn't mean you're making money. And healthcare providers get into this mess all the time. They think they got to make it up on volume, but it's econ 101. If you lose money on every transaction, you can't make it up on volume. And let me tell you, in the health insurance industry or in the healthcare business, there is a lot to be said about a lot of different procedures and medications or what have you that you don't make any money on. It's hard to make money billing insurance. And what it really does is it makes you decrease service, decrease quality, and overall increase prices to the things that you don't get paid on, that you're going to get paid on. So we didn't like that model. So we said no, first of all, because it was the last one we were taking with Medicaid, and then when we went cash only in 2002, and we have never looked back. We had a lot of um, family members, friends that said that we'll never make it. We had colleagues that would said we have to take insurance, we can't make it, and here we are 20 years later, and we are thriving. Janet, what do you have to add to that?
Well, in that journey, prior to us opening pharmacy, we were very debt conscious. So it wasn't something that we lived prior to being in business. But when we got into business, the cash flow issue was part of the problem. And in a pharmacy, usually you're replacing that medication the following day, and you're not getting paid until you're like 90 days out or more. So just think of how many times you have to fund replacing a product within a pharmacy. And many times, what you would find is that you were waiting for that check in the mail so you could actually pay your vendors. And vendors didn't want to wait long. They wanted their checks. Actually, usually pharmacies had to pay it within 2 weeks. So it was this ongoing battle. And then the other part of the equation that most people don't realize out in the public is that insurance companies can go back and audit you willy nilly. You might have
Yeah.
somebody that has all the things or the prior authorizations that are required to have payment. The doctor sign off on it, or the physical therapist, or the prosthetic person. Yet at the same time, an insurance company can come back, at least I think it was 5 years, and they can take the money back, and they just subtract it out of your check or say pay up. And many times, there's no way of reimbursement after you've already spent something and it's out the door. How are you going to find somebody? Are you going to track them down and say, hey, you owe me? And
Right.
even if you did, many times those clients actually did qualify. It's just there were some I or T cross that an insurance auditor didn't like. And so they were taking it away. Well, that game got really old. That whole scenario, every provider will face, whether you're a doctor, pharmacist, physical therapist, you name it, you're going to get audited. And that's just part of the business. And what clients don't understand is that, you can't discriminate as to who you're going to offer assistance to. So when you sign up for insurance, you can't turn somebody away. So, you know, we had also durable clients. For example, we had some young children who qualified for special wheelchairs, and that process was not a fast process. And yet the state would come back and say, no, that wheelchair is not covered. And so we'd have to fight it because it wasn't a cheap equipment. And so that takes away from giving services to other clients. And so that whole experience was not sitting well with us. So when we decided it was time, we I had no hesitation. Let's move on because what we tell ourselves is you won't have any customers, you won't have any patients, you won't have anything out there. You're not going to be helping people if you don't bill insurance. Well, that's just not true.
Well, in reality, we get to help more people
Right.
at a better price and a better service. So we didn't want to be dictated by insurance companies on what kind of service at what price we could offer and at what quality. So we decided, to go cash only and never look back.